The biggest NFL point spread of the season and three top 25 matchups in college basketball. That's just part of what we're covering here on the Saturday edition of the Power 5. Interestingly enough, two of those top 25 matchups we're talking about, we've got undefeated teams that are underdogs. How about that? As a reminder, at any time, you can go ahead and comment down below with your thoughts on these games I'm about to break down. Let's start in college hoops because one of those top 25 matchups tips off very early at 11 a.m. Eastern as number 6 Florida is at number 10 Kentucky. This one's on ESPN. Florida undefeated, but they are currently listed as 3-point underdogs. Early money came in on Kentucky. Looking back over the last 10 meetings, Florida has beaten Kentucky only one time in regulation. Even if they do win here, it's going to be tough for the Gators to remain unbeaten for long because after this, they host number 1 Tennessee, who is also unbeaten on Tuesday. As for Saturday's game, I want to talk about the total. We're talking about two of the top 10 scoring offenses in the country. Kentucky's third at 89 points per game, while Florida's averaging 87.4. So I would give the over a look. It's already taken some money, up to 167.5. That's a high total. I understand that. But then again, the totals for last year's two meetings between Florida and Kentucky, both closed north of 170. The over went 2-0. I like the points with Baylor at Iowa State at 2 Eastern. Bears currently plus 8.5. My power ratings have this closer to 5.5, so definite value on the dog. Baylor, ranked number 25 in the country, just drubbed Utah 81-56 down in Waco. It was their fourth straight win overall so far. The Bears' three losses been to UConn, Tennessee, and Gonzaga, all away from home. Now, two of those were not close. Perhaps that's the reason we're getting such a large number here. Also, Iowa State ranked number 3 in the country, and their only loss was by 2 against an Auburn team that I think is the best team in the country. Again, though, I just think the current number's too big for what promises to be a close game. For the record, I am well aware of the fact Iowa State has covered 7 in a row against Baylor, but only one time during that stretch did they go off as the favorite. A game Mark Zinno and I previously discussed on the morning wager. Number 12, Oklahoma at number 5, Alabama. This is a 6 p.m. Eastern tip. Oklahoma's undefeated, 12-0 straight up. But get this, on Saturday, Sooners are listed as 12.5-point underdogs at Alabama, and I say lay it. This Oklahoma is a total fraud. I've got them power rated as the 45th best team in the country. If you don't trust my rankings, you're saying, who is this crazy man on YouTube? Well, perhaps you've heard of Ken Pomeroy. He's got the Sooners rated 41st. Pretty close to me. 4 neutral court wins by 5 points or less. So this Sooners team's been pretty lucky, I say, especially when they got that 4-point play to beat Michigan a couple weeks ago. I say the luck runs out here. I know Alabama not hitting threes like they did last season, but the Crimson Tide are still 4th in offensive efficiency and 7th in adjusted tempo. They can still score. And let's talk about strength of schedule. Alabama has faced the 12th toughest slate of opponents thus far. Oklahoma has faced one of the 30 easiest schedule. That's a big part of why I'm not a believer. Now, for all my top college basketball plays on Saturday, head on over, wt.buzz/BP. You may have heard of it. That's the place to go. Biggest point spread of the season in the NFL, 4:30 Eastern on Saturday. The Ravens, needing a win to clinch the AFC North and the 3rd seed in the playoffs, are now out to a 20-point favorite over the moribund Browns. We all know DTR was atrocious. The question now is whether or not Bailey Zappi is worse, because that is who will be the starting quarterback for Cleveland here, plus Pro Bowl quarterback Denzel Ward, tight end David Njoku, running back Jerome Ford. They've all been ruled out as well. Interestingly enough, the Browns did beat the Ravens the first meeting of the season. That was Jameis Winston's first start. Needless to say, Baltimore's getting its revenge on Saturday. But the question is how to attack this game. Don't want to lay 20 points in the NFL. For the record, favorites of 20 or more, just 3-6 ATS the last 30 years. Although the last two did cover, including Arizona, who was minus 20.5 3 years ago against Houston. I looked this up because I was like, why were the 2021 Cardinals laying nearly 3 touchdowns? Well, they were 6-0 at the time, and the Texans were starting Davis Mills. Arizona won 31-5. That Houston team was awful. Now, on Friday's edition of the Morning Wager, getting back to our regularly scheduled program, I talked about laying 5.5 with the Ravens in the first quarter against the Browns. That number's now up to 6.5. So I've got an even wilder idea for you. How about we take Derrick Henry to be the first touchdown scorer at plus 240 odds? He's minus 240, that is, in the anytime touchdown market. So odds makers definitely anticipate Henry is going to find his way into the end zone at some point. You got to figure it's going to be early. How about first? After all, the Ravens would just love to build a big lead in this game and then be able to pull starters in the second half. Now, assuming the Ravens do beat the Browns, that will have an effect on the second game of Saturday's NFL doubleheader, which is Bengals at the Steelers. A Ravens win would mean the Steelers no longer have a chance to win the AFC North, but Pittsburgh still would have a chance to clinch the 5 seed with a win. And the 5 seed means they go to Houston in the wild card round and not Baltimore. Obviously, an easier first round matchup for the Steelers. But Cincinnati needs to win here as well to have any hope of just making the playoffs. Pittsburgh's already clinched. Cincinnati, though, not only do they need to win Saturday, they need both Denver and Miami to lose on Sunday. That doesn't seem likely. I think the Steelers, who are currently plus 2.5, would make for a great teaser piece. I know they've lost 3 straight, all by double digits, but remember, those 3 losses were to Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Kansas City. Steelers have also been off since Christmas. No matter what happens with Baltimore, there should be some semblance of motivation for the black and gold at the very least. They can knock out a division rival. So again, teasing through the key numbers of 3 and 7 seems prudent. The Bengals' poor defense, as we all know, makes it difficult for them to win by margin. Lots of potential teaser pieces on Sunday for the second leg. Obviously, if we're going to tease the Steelers up to 8.5, we got to find a dance partner. I would look at Seattle from minus 6.5 down to minus half a point as the one to potentially target. The Seahawks are facing the Rams. The Rams are resting everybody. A reminder, for a limited time, you can get a full month of winners free of charge right now at wagertalk.com. To do so, all you need to do, purchase a 90-day all-access pass. Then we throw in an additional 30 days of service at no cost. It's a $299 value, free to you. You're covered for the next 120 days, rest of the football season, not to mention through March Madness and in to the NBA playoffs. That will do it for Saturday's edition of the Power 5. Smash that like button if you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And until next time, guys, let's cash some tickets.